A few videos away from this, we talked about elements and principles of design, and I told us the definition of elements and the definition of principles of design. Believing that you still remember what it is, in case you do not know, you can go back and watch the video. Today, we're going to be talking about what the elements of design. Of course, we talked about what the elements of design actually are. We're going to be picking one of these components to talk about, and the first one we're going to be talking about is lines. Lines as a component of elements of design. What is it? Okay, so when we talk about lines, we're actually talking about the actual line that we know. We have straight line, we have curved lines, we have diagonal, horizontal, vertical, and all the shapes of lines that we know. Now, talking about these lines in elements of fashion designing, these lines can also be structural, which is a seam line. It can be a decorative line. It can be prints, right? So the lines is not just the one that you draw. It could be the line that, just like we have a line here, I'm hoping says that this is a structural line. And we can have embroidery lines, lines that are used to create designs on the fabric. These lines that we're talking about defines the shapes and forms in fashion designing. For instance, I have this diagram here, hoping you can see it. This is a line, right? Defining the neckline, how it's going to look, and giving a design, a form to the um, diagram that we have here. We also have lines here, right? Which also define the form and shape of the garments that we have, making the waist look slimmer than it's supposed to be or it actually is. We also have lines at the hip lines, which is created to make the hip look bigger than it's supposed to be. And of course, having a vertical line can also make a slim person look longer than he or she actually is. So lines can actually create forms. It influences how a design appears or guides the eye on what it sees. Lines influence the perception of a garment by creating visual movements of the eye. It defines the shape and affects the silhouette of the design. When you look at the design, the lines of this garment at the lower part, it's not the same as the upper part. It's not fitted like the upper part. It creates another kind of design for the garments that we're about to create. So the way you make use of your lines determines the outcome of the form of the garments that you want to make. Lines are common, but in fashion designing, they are not just common. They are not just ordinary lines. They create the actual look, guiding the eye and influences how a garment interacts with the body. I hope this makes sense to you. So the next time you're about to make a garment, think of the lines that you're about to create. What effect is it going to have on the garment, especially on the neckline, the seam lines which are the structural lines or the decorative lines, and the outlook of the design entirely. What kind of effect, what kind of visual effect is it going to be creating on the person who is looking at you and actually interacting with the body who is going to wear it? So today we've talked about light. In the next video, we're going to be talking about the shape of the garment. Of course, there is a similarity between lines and shape. Okay, so one after the other, we're going to be treating this. My name is Justice, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.